Welcome to the Poisoners Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners and macabre murders from across the centuries and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 147. Woo! Ooh, we're getting very, very close to the 50s.
150. That'd be
And
mad.
that means very, very close to the end of season 3.
I know, I can have a snooze.
You could have a little rest.
Oh, I can have a bit of a lie down. Be lovely, that will.
I love this. Every time you're like, oh, yes, I must lie down. Me just doing all the editing and
Pretty
all
much,
of the
yeah.
producing.
Yeah. That's how these things work. You knew what you were getting in for.
You are hedonism bot. Bring me my chocolate sauce. How are you, Nick?
I'm alright.
You good?
My shoulder hurts.
You're telling me this now?
Got an achy shoulder.
What's the matter with you?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you want a shoulder rub?
It's just like I can't move it up past like there.
Oh, that's not
quite
good,
painful.
Nick. That's not
Like,
good.
this one goes all the way up there.
Your little teapot now.
That one doesn't.
I've been here about 40 minutes and he
So
said nothing.
I was just stirring with a drink and I thought, ooh,
Have you got stirrer's shoulder?
stirrer's shoulder.
It's an injury. Tell work I won't be coming in tomorrow. I stirred my red hook too hard. Oh, I will give you a shoulder rub in a bit. You won't thank me for it because I'm quite
No,
savage.
you'll make it hurt.
Oh, okay. So my husband is running a marathon
He
in
is.
a few weeks, and I should put up the link to his charity because he's running it for Calm, and he's doing a fantastic job. But he ordered, on the advice of Tim, who has been a guest on this show, a massage gun.
Oh, they look terrifying.
Oh yeah, I mean, you would think looking at them, is this a sex toy?
Really not.
It's bloody not. No, it's not that I've tried. I took one look at it in
Pummeled
action.
to death.
One look at it and went, oh no, that will decimate my delicate area. And Ben has to use it on his quads and his glutes as well. That's a fun experience for a husband and wife. So I'll get that. He'll bring that round later. We'll pummel your shoulder and have a laugh.
Terrifying.
They do work, but they
Yeah.
are terrifying. But you're otherwise well.
Otherwise, I'm fine.
Otherwise, well, you're on the second drink.
Well, yes.
Oh, that's nice. Any poisonings this week?
My shoulder.
Has someone hit you with a blow dart?
Well, possibly.
Your new neighbours.
There's many builders in there at the moment. There's no neighbours in there yet.
Builders, greatest poisoners of them all.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yes, notorious with their blowpipes.
I mean, we'd never suspect them.
Well, indeed. Perhaps that's what the scaffolding is. The scaffolding is disguised as blow dart assassins.
A series of networks poisoning people across Canterbury.
Yeah, probably not.
Just your shoulder hurts.
Just
you're
my
grumpy.
shoulder hurts. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Drink more bourbon, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Well, speaking of being pummeled by guns and doing questionable things for your friends running marathons, I think it is time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Yes, we certainly should. So, first of all, we have Tara Martin. Thank you very much, Tara.
To Stephanie Clark.
Christina E. Dresser Henley.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
My lady.
That's a very fancy name.
And to Katerina. Delicious. We got some very elegant people.
Fancy people today.
We got some
Fancy.
elegant Patreons.
Absolutely. Thank
My
you very
lords and ladies, you are so refined. We are not worthy of your patronage. Thank you very, very much for joining us. We've had fun over on Patreon. You have just kept going with the Ramsgate mysteries.
much. I know. Who knew there were so many?
Who knew on the Isle of Thanet was such a den of iniquity? I mean, we all
We all knew that. we all knew that.
It's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the police force over there during the Victorian era was shit.
No, not the best. Not the best. It has to seem.
Hilarious. I loved that episode. That was
Yeah,
great.
I was pleased with that one.
We're all enjoying book club at the moment as well.
Yes.
We got some extra bonus material coming out soon. Another episode of PC Morris due soon. And a very, very special interview, which we'll give you guys a little snippet of, but the Patreons get the whole thing, of an interview with Laura Purcell.
That sounds very fancy.
The author, who is sensational and is lovely, and I think is a fan of the show now, and she has her own podcast. So, and she works with John
marvellous.
Carpenter. I was one step away from John Carpenter interviewing her, and that to certain people is a very big thing. To you, you're like, well, what's happening?
Okay, yeah, that sounds lovely.
He directed the thing.
He directed some films.
He directed some films, and they're very cool.
Okay.
I don't think he'd be friends with me.
Probably not.
Not if I do this voice.
You'll be weird and stalkery.
Yeah, well, Nick, are you ready?
God, no.
Oh, you're struggling, aren't you?
I don't know why today.
To drink cocktails and talk about poison.
Oh,
Or we could drink poison and talk about cocktails.
I think a cocktail to liven me up.
I think that's a marvellous idea.
Yes, indeed.
Shall we go with the first one?
Let's do that.
Hooray, hooray, hooray. It is Mastery this week, and we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavour our cocktail of the week. So with my story, my pick,
Yes.
and this week's secret ingredient is a nightingale.
Yeah. Classic drink ingredient.
Classic drink ingredient, a songbird.
Yeah.
And you are looking shifty.
I mean, it wasn't the easiest of ingredients. Has to be said.
Sent this as a suggestion. First suggestion, because every week I send Nick a suggestion based on the stories and go, okay, how about this? How about that? And he goes, okay, I'm going to choose that one. So I went, okay, well, Nightingale's one. Immediately you went, that'll work, but you won't be happy. So I spent the day going, what could it be? Is it going to be like Berkeley Square or something?
I mean, that would have been a good one.
I mean, it shows my musical knowledge.
Yeah,
there.
I don't know if there are any cocktails named after Berkeley Square.
You should have looked that up, shouldn't you?
But it's not that.
It's not that.
It's not that. You gave me this ingredient on the morning of the recording. Not a lot of time to go and get new ingredients, make stuff. So I was like, I found something. I've got the ingredients at home. That'll do.
That was fine. I have another ingredient that I'm going to reveal.
It's a bit late now,
No. But I'm going to reveal it during the show, and you'll either go, "Oh, there was no chance," or you'll punch me because you'll go, "Oh, that could have been a thing I could have ordered, and that would be amazing." But that will be revealed there.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
But Nightingale, okay, you've gone with it.
I've gone with it. Now, nightingales are birds.
Yes, right.
So we are having the bird is the word.
For fuck's sake,
because it looked quite interesting.
I mean,
and I like the Family Guy episode with it in.
Bird is a word. I said a bird. I mean, I can forgive you for that. You just, you are so tired, aren't you?
And I thought, oh, I've got all those things.
Oh, that is crowbarring.
That's why I said you were going to shout at me.
Yes, I know. I thought you were going to go really obscure, but no, just
no, it's a bird. It's a bird.
Right. I'm going to forgive you because I know you're very tired. And I was very tired a couple of days ago and you forgave me. You're going to look up Berkeley Square in a minute and there's going to be something that is amazing. Symphony of flavours.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there is, I'll make it.
Hey, okay. Right, so we have a bird as the word.
Bird is a word. Number one, no less.
Oh, is it number one?
There are more birds of the words in the world.
I am
We're having a number one.
Expecting this to be kind of a surfing themed, kind of surfer drink, man. Like something from the West Coast. Okay, well, I think it is high time for us to surf into the Poisoner's Cabinet kitchen and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
Ooh, Nick. It is a bird as a word.
Bird is a word.
Yes, it's very yellow. It looks
yellow.
Resplendently yellow.
Yellowy bird. A nightingale's yellow? I don't know. No, they're both
They are
brown
actually. No,
colour.
they're not. They're kind of a goldeny brown. Please, all the twitches are just. I was so worried choosing the picture this week because I was trying to choose stock pictures and they all said they're nightingales. And I went on to many a bird watching site to make sure it was a nightingale because I just knew someone was going to come at me going, I think you'll find that's a goldfinch or something. No, but they're kind of a tawny, yellowy.
Okay, well, they're yellow. I'm going with yellow.
They're a bird-like colour.
A bird colour, you say?
I should have brought round my Big Book of British Birds.
British birds. Everyone should have a copy of the Big Book
that
of
I
British
got
birds.
off someone in lockdown, convinced I was going to bird watch. I was going to learn all the birds. Remember that?
You were going to do a lot of things in lockdown.
I was going to do a lot of things. I was going to become a gardener.
Yeah.
And then I went absolutely mental for birds because that was all I could do was watch some birds. Got books, realised there are a lot of birds and gave up very quickly. Not to be vulgar, but you know how many varieties of tit there are?
A great many.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
And then a starling comes along and you're like, oh, I don't know what that is. But today we have a bird as the word.
We have a bird as the word.
I noticed that you mixed it up beforehand. There were no bottles on the side when I came in. So, interesting. Okay, right. Smells yellow. All right, I guess we should dive in.
Yeah.
So, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Bird is
Christmas.
the word. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, that's nice. Is it? Ooh. That's sharp. It's citrusy.
Definitely citrusy. Definitely a twang going on there.
There's a nice twang going on. It's got a floral hint.
Yeah.
Could be a fruity hint. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I like that.
It's all right. I'm not blown away.
You're not.
No. It vanishes very, very quickly.
It does, yes. It doesn't have a longevity.
No.
but I like the front.
Oh yeah, I mean it's got a bit of a punch up front. Absolutely, that's a citrusiness.
What's that expression? Better coming than going. Okay, so I'm gonna guess there's lemon.
There's lemon. You got the lemon.
Lemon.
Lemons are yellow.
Gin.
No.
Rum.
No.
Tequila.
Yeah.
Oh yay! Hooray! But there's something fruity in there.
Something fruity.
Was there maraschino in there?
Nope.
Okay. Orange triple sec.
Nope.
Again,
Think of
all the fruits.
There are no other fruits.
There are no other fruits. Apples.
No.
Why do I just go cherry, orange, apple,
Nothing.
banana.
No.
One day we'll use the banana.
One day.
Lychee.
No.
Oh, fuck you. You keep... Oh, pears.
Nope.
Oh, I'm stressed. I don't know.
Apricot.
Oh, for God's sake. It's always bloody apricot.
Apricot brandy.
Apricot brandy. That's your favourite freaking thing.
It's really not.
But it's in everything. And I never remember. All right. Okay. Is there something
One
else?
other thing.
Oh, there's one other thing.
One
sugar
other
syrup?
thing. No. Another boozy thing.
Benedictine.
Nope.
Oh, fuck. Is it yellow chartreuse?
Think yellow.
Yellow chartreuse.
Yay.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
You said you liked it.
I do like it. I do like it. The yellow chartreuse wins me over. My palate has been pummeled after 3 years into submission.
Yeah, taste buds have been dissolved away.
It's all right, actually, though. Yeah. But for something with yellow chartreuse in it, I'd expect you to be climbing the walls going, hurrah, hurrah, hurrah.
It's all right. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, the bird is the word. They say, oh, it's a variant on a last word. I mean, how... And you sort of get it is because you've got your base spirit and you've got some fruit and you've got something herby.
Okay, so last word, talk us
So
through
last word is gin, green chartreuse and maraschino and lime.
Yes.
In that. So you do
Your
have the
favourite
same
thing.
sort of building blocks of that. But at what point does a variation become just an entirely different cocktail? When you've actually got none of the same ingredients whatsoever. But it's a similar sort of style of cocktail.
It's in the same ballpark.
It's in the same ballpark, yet
nothing
entirely
like
different.
it.
They are completely different. You've got gin and tequila, maraschino or apricot,
The same colour.
green chartreuse or yellow chartreuse,
Yeah.
lemons and limes. So
I quite like this version,
yeah,
though.
fair enough.
Because I would fling a last word in your face, and it's your favourite thing. Whereas this is my variety. Oh my God, it's a his and hers.
Oh, there we go. Have we found it?
A last word, and bird is a word is mine. Because I think this is really nice.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, we found the his and hers.
It does fade away to nothing, so you're gonna drink it faster. That's the dangerous thing about it. But I quite enjoy it.
I'm good. I'm glad. Not entirely unsuccessful.
The bird is some sort of word for you. You 2 drinks lined up anyway.
I do, yeah. You might have that one. I'm actually even going to pass that over to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I'm behind on drinks with you because you are just caning through red hooks.
I will stick with my red hook I've got here.
I've got to read words, Nick.
Yeah, well, drink them slowly.
Oh, okay. And read the words even slower as I go. And there was some stuff that went on. Well, the bird is the word, and we have the bird is the word firmly in hand. I have it firmly in hand.
Yep.
Skipping towards the beach. You are just like lingering back going, is there not a last word emporium around?
Yes.
Is it time for a story?
Ooh, I should hope so.
We're going somewhere we have very rarely gone.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we've ever been.
Ooh, intriguing.
Because we're going to Morocco.
We have been. We've been to Morocco on Patreon.
Yes. We've been to Patreon,
But
Morocco.
yes, but not in real world.
Not in the big
Morocco.
world. It is 1936, and we're going to the city of Meknès. Apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I will limit my pronunciation of this place.
Well, I think the 30s Morocco, quite a trendy place to be.
Well, yeah, what's your feeling about Morocco
I
in
know
the
that,
1930s?
sort of quite a big sort of expaty community. Quite, yeah, a lot of people, a lot of authors, and sitting around drinking coffee, smoking, shagging everyone in sight, getting very drunk at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
This sort of goings on.
You have that a little bit in the 30s, more into the 40s and the 50s,
Oh, okay.
certainly. Sections of Morocco and sections of this area are under French rule. So there's, at times it's fine, and other times it's kind of Meknès at the time, as it has been since 1912, is a transportation hub. So there's a lot of goods passing through. It's recovering a little bit from a long period of neglect. It's getting new investment from the French authorities, which have now sort of sectioned off Meknès, and they have been given this area. But the threat of violence and aggression lingers over the city as native Moroccan people resist the French colonial rule. And there are battles over food and resources. So in 1936, this is all kind of bubbling under. And you have places in Meknes which are pretty run down, some which are quite affluent. But this is where we are. We're in the rundown bit.
Yeah.
We're in the not fancy opulent neighbourhood of the wealthy. We're in the sort of slum areas. And there are some children playing in the street. They're playing around and they're kicking about the place, and they come across a basket. A basket tied up with string.
Full of sweets and treasures and lovely toys. And
oh my God, yeah. That's what they think, because it's a basket sitting around. It's been really tied up. So they think, like, there's
must be some good stuff in there.
Fancy stuff in there, and they go over, and it smells quite herby. It smells quite sweet. So they think, okay, there could be food. There could be goods in here. Okay, right, we need to get this open, kids. I mean, it's just sitting on the street next to a couple of buildings, and one building which is quite well known to people in the area. Oh, absolutely. So they break in, they pull it apart, these lovely aromas wafting out, and there's something that's kind of an underneath the aroma where they're kind of going, oh, okay, maybe
there's an undertone.
There's an undertone, maybe some meat in there that's like kind of like, oh, it's been wrapped up and preserved. And inside, they find a pair of feet,
Not what they were expecting.
a pair of hands,
Okay.
and a head and a torso.
Oh, all the bits.
All the bits, nicely chopped up and put in a basket, surrounded by a bouquet garni,
Oh, how delightful. Ready for cooking.
mint and fennel and herbs and loveliness, so no one will notice the smell of the rotting flesh.
Ready for the barbecue.
Yes. This is the body of a young woman. It would later transpire a teenager who is in this basket. Now, the way it is portrayed in certain things is that they pull this out and there's flesh still on the bone. And this is definitely a dissected corpse. There is flesh on the bones, but there's not a lot of it.
Okay.
But it's pretty easy to assemble and work out, okay, this was a human being.
Yes, where the bits went.
There's other versions of this story, and this is where the other ingredient might have come in, where some people claim that the body was discovered buried under a fig tree.
Oh.
So figs could have been an ingredient.
Oh, see, I like a fig.
I don't really have strong feelings about figs because they don't taste of anything.
Oh, they do.
They don't.
They definitely do.
They don't. You only think they taste of things because you have them with cheese.
No, you have. Oh, no, they do. They do.
You feel very strongly about
I feel very
that.
strongly about the fig.
Right, when have you tasted a fig and you've gone, ooh, I love a fig? When have you gone and bought a bunch of figs and just eaten them, apart from when you had them with a lovely, lovely Roquefort?
I've eaten just a fig before.
As a dare. To impress a girl.
To impress a girl. I can eat a whole fig.
Okay, there's a liqueur. There's a fig liqueur. Yeah. So I almost sent you that, but I thought you would have hit me.
No, it would have been great if I had the day before, so I could have bought some.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Otherwise, this episode would have been delayed. And also, I didn't think there was enough credence because people sort of paint this picture. It was found. The children were digging in the ground and they found under a fig tree these bones. But anyway, I don't know if there was a fig tree involved.
No figs involved.
I think everyone else is like there was a fucking basket on the street and there was a body in it. So everyone's going shit.
In French and Moroccan.
Merde.
and
also all the Moroccans are just say shit, it's fine, it flies around here. The police are summoned and they think, okay, well maybe we should just knock on the door of the couple of the owners of the houses nearby.
Have they lost a basket of bits of people?
Have they lost a basket of bits? And there is one house that everyone knows about in this area. And they all know about the owner. Maybe they don't talk about it as much. A brothel.
Oh.
Owned by a woman known as Moulet. That's just how she's known,
Okay.
Moulet.
Fair enough.
So Moulet answers the door. She lets them into the house. She's about 46 years old. She lets everyone in. Her husband, Mohammed Ben Ali, is also there, looking very wide-eyed and standing behind her. She's quite a formidable woman.
Oh.
And she lets the policemen in and says, what's this all about? And she's dismissive of them. And she's like, what are you talking about? What's going on? So, well, we found this basket of body bits literally outside your house. And she's like, I don't know anything about that. And she says, well, I'm going to point this out to you. Do you recognise anything? There's still flesh on the bone. And then she says, that must be one of our lodgers, our former lodgers, in inverted commas.
Right.
A girl named Sharifa.
Okay.
Sharifa. But I don't know what's happened to her. It certainly looks like bits of her body, but it's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with this house.
Absolutely not.
At any point when the police press her and say, could we just ask you a few more questions? I mean, this is a bit weird. Moulet snaps at them that they should remember she has saved the lives of 1,000 Frenchmen.
Oh, that's impressive. How?
Well, And it's around that time that the policeman, when he's absorbing this information, going, okay, are you someone that I should know about? That you're someone special? He hears a scratching at the wall. An internal wall in the house. And he turns and he can hear some noise behind this wall. And Moulay is just trying to distract him and saying, well, it's nothing. And he says, like, what's the noise behind there? It sounds like a cat mewing. And she says, yes, there is a cat stuck behind the wall.
Okay.
We had some work done on the wall recently and a cat got behind there and we filled it up and we've got a builder coming to fix it. It's nothing. It's nothing. Stop looking at the wall.
Yeah.
How uncomfortable are you feeling at this point?
I'm pretty uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've got horrible visions of where this is going to go.
Basket of body parts outside the house. There's a mewing sound from the wall. The policeman who is just doing his job, who is just asking questions, confronted with this quite formidable woman who was saying to him, do you know who I am? I have saved 1,000 Frenchmen. I know nothing about this. He is sort of saying, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to back out. There's a cat in the wall. This is a bit weird.
It's not a cat.
As he's leaving, he can hear a croaking voice saying, help me.
That's definitely not a cat.
What has happened in the Moulay's brothel?
Well, someone's been walled up in a wall, it would seem.
I'm building some mystery here, Nick.
Yeah.
And who is this strange woman
That I can't help you with.
such horrors at her door? Well, let us go back, Nick, and tell the story of Moulay, or Oum-El-Hassen,
Okay.
also known as the Nightingale.
Oh, very good.
Very
good.
There it is.
Nice. Like it.
This is a woman with a colourful past, an opulent lifestyle, but whose downfall was swift, dark, and brutal. This is another one of our deadly women stories.
Yeah.
There are points in this that are hilarious. It goes south very quickly. So brace yourselves,
Okay.
people. But let's go right back to the beginning.
Okay.
Before we solve the mystery of who the hell is in the wall.
Who's in the wall?
Because that's troubling. Oum-El-Hassen, I will refer to her as Moulay from now on, was born in 1890 in Algiers. Not much is known about her childhood. All we know is that she was, even as a child, incredibly beautiful. That's all people commented about her, regardless of her wits or her past. We don't know anything about her childhood or her family. We just know that she was very beautiful, and she used this to her advantage as early as possible, striking green eyes.
Oh,
apparently.
fancy. Okay.
Now, she would become a cabaret girl around about the age of 12.
Oh, that's quite young
Yes.
for such things.
Indeed. So this is a fancy word for a sex worker, but
Yeah.
someone who is performative, someone who is going to dance and do favours. And it is freaking horrible. But given her beauty, she was called the most beautiful cabaret girl in all of Northern Africa. She used her skills as a dancer and as a courtesan to her advantage so she could entertain the wealthy, the powerful. She had her sights set on anyone who could give her a better start in life.
Fair enough.
She wanted to make clever moves to make sure if I've got this life ahead of me, I'm going to entertain anyone who can help me.
I'm going to make it as damn comfortable as I can.
Absolutely. You know, scruples out the window,
Yeah.
morals out the window, whatever is going to get me ahead of life. When she becomes a teenager and she's growing in reputation, she chooses to side with entertaining the French soldiers occupying North Africa.
Okay.
She's very vocal about her support for them. She said she would not sleep with any man who was not a French soldier. That means that all the French soldiers are going to come to her and they're going to keep giving her money. She's going to be very loyal. And also, she's reportedly the most beautiful woman in Africa. She is trying to side with the people who are going to help her out.
Yeah. People who are coming in and they've got the money.
Absolutely.
And they're going to have the power. So, yeah.
Keep the authorities on side
Yeah.
because that is the situation in Morocco. She's being very, very shrewd. Soon she's running her own brothel in the former capital of Fez. And this is a fancy place. I mean, this is not your run-of-the-mill brothel. This is lavish. This is opulent. She is the star attraction for her beauty, but she hires the best dancers in all of Africa, the most beautiful girls. French officers and rich men are lining up to come in there. So it's not just a case of come in and there's a little bit of a hand shandy. No, it is performance. It is dancing. It is music. It is song. She has like 3 tiers of lady.
Of entertainment.
She walked down, and they are all incredibly skilled and incredibly beautiful and refined, but depending on what they want. She has chefs brought in who are preparing the most lavished feasts. I mean, this is harem, beautiful kind
absolutely. This is the place to be.
opulence territory. She entertains, it was said, with gaiety, luxury. She used young dancers, fine form Berber women, passive daughters from the south. So she very much lent into the French officers' desire to see the native
something
ladies.
Exotic and very different to what they used to back in France.
Very much, and she charged a very high price for it. In March 1912, though, the mood in Morocco is turning. It's ahead of something quite savage about to come. The Sultan of Morocco had signed the Treaty of Fez, which meant the city became a French protectorate, essentially colonisation.
Yeah.
The Moroccan people weren't very happy about this.
No.
Most of them didn't know for a month that this had happened. And when they were told on the 17th of April, there was rioting. There was rioting in the streets. We are not happy about this. And this leads to one of the most famous stories of her past, and that she would dine out on for years to come. Well, it is true. The versions of the story...
I'm sure it's embellished slightly over the years.
Oh, and we go to embellish it. We're going to go with the embellished versions. We're going to go with the light version as well, because it's too good not to include. So, when the news of the treaty hit the streets, you have a lot of Moroccan rebels, as they would be called, taking to the street, and they are kicking off, and it's violent. Any Frenchman who's on the street is going to be targeted and potentially killed. What does Moulay do in the situation? Should she rise up with her countrymen? Should she side with the men who pay her bills? Choice is easy.
Yeah.
A regiment of 16 French soldiers fled to her brothel, knowing she was friendly and trying to find a place to hide. As the violence escalated on the street, they were certain to be killed out there. So Moulay smuggled them inside, and she swore that she would protect them. The short version of the story is that they hid in the back rooms. The rebels came knocking at her door, knowing that she favoured the French soldiers, asking to see them. She held them off with a gun, and she dared them to cross her threshold. One of them tried. She shot him in the chest. She was wounded in the hand, but they left. She protected these French soldiers. She saved their lives. But the short story is too boring for this podcast. Let's tell the long version.
Okay.
Can you see where this is going?
How many does she fend off single-handedly?
No, it's not that. It's so much better. It's so much better because you need to paint the scene in your head here.
Right.
The soldiers turn up. Okay, help me. Come inside. Don't just go into the back rooms. There's not enough room there. What we need to do is just assimilate you into the background.
Dress up in some fancy lady costumes. Get dancing.
Not just dress up. Let's shave the moustaches off. Let's shave your legs, love. Let's dye your eyebrows. Pluck them, dye them. Full on makeup, because these are French soldiers and they're Moroccan women. Yeah. So they have to dye their hair. They put wigs on them.
I mean, this seems like a lot of work. But the people are just behind them, chasing them down the street.
There's a full hour of
and
makeup.
There's at least like 3 days worth of prep gone into this.
They are in there plucking, picking, dyeing, padding the ladies. They chuck on all the gowns and the voluptuous, making sure the flesh is on show, rouging the cheeks.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely lips, luscious red lips in there.
Tucking things away.
Tucking. You like my manjana? Douse perfume everywhere. Douse them in perfume. Right. And then she had them arranged because you imagine you walk in to the.
What's wrong with a cupboard?
I mean, I'm imagining some of these guys were 100% for this.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
There's a few that are like, I don't know what to do. And the others like, yes, rouge. I need a little more, like contour right here. It's good. My eyes. I need the blue. So they come in, and you imagine the foyer of a brothel like hers, and it's an opulent brothel. Yeah. So all the girls would be sort of laying in couches and beds and divans and everything, and all the guys were positioned there, and she put the girls in front of them.
Yes.
So because otherwise the lady, they just had their tits out, so like that would be distracting. And the guys were sitting draped in fabrics with fans, little fans, airing themselves like, oh no. Arrange them like that, and then the rebels come knocking on the door.
Okay.
So they open the door and they come in, and they're like, oh, hello. Lots of sexy ladies in here.
So many lovely ladies.
And Moulay is standing there with her gun, and she's saying, you will not come in here and touch my girls. You will not come in here and mess about. There are no French soldiers in here, but you will not damage my merchandise. And they're all like, why have you got 16 more hookers than the last time we were in here? It's like, these are just fresh supplies. The finest, most beautiful women in all of the world have come here. And I don't know what the men were doing to try and convince the rebels who came in, sultry poses. Probably one of them was dancing on a table, doing the dance of the seven veils.
Absolutely.
So into it. But they're posing. And Moulet says to them, while they're just staring at the scene going, what? And she says, look, there's no one here, but you're welcome to come back tomorrow and sample the wares if you want. And I like to think that there were a few of the rebels who were like, fell in love at first sight, looking at some of the sexy men going, you're so beautiful.
Oh, beautiful lady.
I must have you now. No money's enough. Please, just 10 minutes. He's like, I'm all right. Thank you very much. Just a quick hand, Jandy. The rebels agree. They're going to get a freebie tomorrow with the most beautiful women they've ever seen. And they say, okay, we'll go. They all go. One guy stays behind and goes, does anyone not see that these are blokes? And she shoots him in the chest. She shoots him straight through the heart. Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
And then the rebels come back and go, why did you shoot my friend? He's like, I told him not to touch the girls, and he tried to touch the girls, so I had to shoot him. And they're like, okay, we respect you. We respect the girls. It's absolutely fine. We shall go out in the streets. The men, I think, left. Some of them probably stayed.
I imagine they would. Yeah. Just feels so right. So I'm just going to stay here.
Singing show tunes long into the night.
Lovely.
Sexy men. Okay, whatever version of the story you want to believe, she definitely defended them. I am 100% with that latter story.
It's a lovely story. It seems like a lot of effort in a very short amount of time.
I think that they were okay with that.
They were okay with that?
I mean, I believe it. I don't know. Like,
I suppose it depends how many girls she had there working. So, like, all these soldiers comes in, and then she's got rows and rows of girls. Like, some of them like doing some shaving, some of them doing the makeup, some of them got the tape measure out to make some costumes. There's a whole production line of things going on.
Also, if you walk in and you're a rebel and you see 16 French soldiers dressed up as ladies, you're not going to believe it as well. It's a bit far-fetched. So actually go, you know what, lean into it. They're going, really? It's like, don't be so stupid. These are just lovely, big handed prostitutes. Their feet are huge. Oh, yes. But whatever version you believe, the French...
She saved the men.
She did. And the French rewarded her. They praised her as a saviour. She was given 11,000 francs.
Wow.
Yeah. For her help. She was reported she is rich, she is loved, and she is adulated because they were so pleased with what she'd done. She's embellishing the story as she goes now. It's not 16 men, suddenly it's 30, and then it's not 30, it's 60 men.
And we reach 1,000 at the end of it.
Well, there's another reason why it gets to 1,000. No, but in that little story,
ahead.
yes, she is saying that many people, and they are still working for her at the time. A few stay behind. But then the rumours started. Well, not really the rumour, the murmuring that she should be awarded the French Legion of Honour.
Oh, that's quite fancy.
Very fancy. The highest honour that the French can give because she had saved lives.
Yeah.
And she was known to all of these soldiers, whatever she had done, whichever version of the story, she had saved lives.
Yeah.
And she was so proud, and that's what she wanted. She wanted the respect. There was no way she was going to get it.
No.
Because she's a brothel
madam.
She's
a brothel madam, so it's probably not going to happen, really, is it?
None of the high society French women would allow it. Even the men, they don't want that honour bestowed on a Moroccan woman who is of a lower class to them. Absolutely not. Yeah. She could receive money, but nothing else. Yeah. And she was furious and heartbroken because she genuinely believed she was getting the honour to the point where she was just messaging, the French contact she had and said, if you don't send it to me soon enough, when I get it, I'm going to hang the honour on the back of my donkey's ass, which doesn't please them, really. No. Genuinely thought she was getting it. There was no chance of her receiving that praise. She would go on in 1925 to again protect French forces in Morocco. She heard tale of a raid that was going to happen during a festival. She informed the French and it saved lives again because there was going to be a massive attack, and if she hadn't told them, and they said, yes, she absolutely told us this. But she was never given the respect. No matter what she did, she was snubbed by high society, and that was the attention she craved. She was only ever going to be a common prostitute to them. Yeah. So after this point, for 10 years, she disappeared. Disappeared from life, from her society. But when she came back, she was a much changed woman in both appearance, in fortune, and in temperament.
Oh.
And I think that's time for a drink.
Okay.
You've been hanging on for ages, haven't you? Okay, Nick.
Yes.
Do you have your drink?
Oh, yes. Test
Okay.
it.
Because this is where this is going to go south.
Okay, right, okay. It's been so jolly up until now.
We've had fun.
Yeah.
We have had
It's been
fun.
a lovely time in Morocco.
If you want to stay in the brothel with all the soldiers dressing up,
Sounds great.
singing I Like Being a Girl
Yeah.
from Rodgers and Hammerstein, go ahead. Go ahead.
But I feel a but coming on.
10 years later.
Okay. Wavy lines, wavy lines.
The nightingale, who was once lavish with the finest jewels, perfumes, and gifts from her rich clients, has been off the radar for 10 years. Where she has been, no one really knows. But her looks have certainly started to fade. It's possible that she spiraled into drugs and that she was also working with drug traffickers and the sex slave trade.
Yeah.
So the older she got, the dimmer her star became.
Yeah.
Everything got a little bit down. And again, being her realizing that whatever she did to entertain the great and the good of society, she was never going to be one of them,
No.
may have sent her into a massive spiral. And yeah, that didn't have a good outcome. We next find her in the city of Magnez in 1936, and it's a far, far cry from the beautiful brothel that she had in Fez. You know, that where she had the best chefs coming in, the finest clientele, the most beautiful women, an opulent lifestyle. She's now in a run-down, seedy brothel.
Oh, it's a bit of a come down, isn't it?
It's not pretty.
She's not going to be happy.
She is helped by her husband,
I'm sure he's not particularly happy either.
Mohammed Ben Ali, who we referred to at the beginning. He's described as sordid and fetid.
Not good characteristics.
He's helping her run the business, but he's the least of anyone's problems.
Yeah.
It's her. It's the nightingale. That is the trouble. Her clients are rough, brutish men. They don't want any of the luxuries that she used to offer. They want girls, and they want them now.
Yeah, they're not really interested in dancing and chefs and fancy food and nice wines and things. They want a shag and then be gone.
Exactly. And those girls that she has are poor, they're
Yeah.
young, and they're tormented. Much like the dear Daria from a couple of weeks ago. Our lovely, lovely countess. Moulay now looks at the young, pretty girls working with her and for her with hatred.
Yeah.
They have the looks, and the men want to sleep with them. She's now in her 40s. Her looks were described later on as having dissolved in the fat of middle age.
Oh,
That is
that's
a
not
deep
very nice.
burn. That is just
really
horrible.
That's unpleasant.
That's like women can't age.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
just mean.
But this is the world that she's grown up in,
very
that she
true.
lives in. While she lined her green eyes with blue coal, which I think is a great look, she was missing many teeth. Her mouth was described as flat, ungracious, made for gossiping, invective, and perhaps cruelty.
Oh.
And those are words from Colette, the great writer who would cover her court case.
Oh.
I'll come back to Colette on this
Okay.
because I'm like, So bitter was Moulay that she began to take her anger out on the poor girls who worked in her godforsaken brothel. They are beaten, they are starved, and they are locked up. There is none of the opulence of Fez. This is a place of misery and sadness where anyone who walked through the door was not going out in a good shape. Both Moulay and Ali, her husband, he said later, because he was terrified of repercussions from his wife, exacted these terrible, terrible punishments on the girls. It was said that 7 girls were beaten so badly that they were crippled for life.
Oh, Christ.
And then came the rumours of murder. Girls would go missing, never to be seen again. The documentation on these missing girls doesn't exist.
There isn't any, absolutely.
Because who were they
Yeah.
and who really cared? Enough people talked about it in the street, and it could all be gossip, but it could be genuine.
Yeah.
One girl named Aika was a dancer, but she had become so ill and abused that her looks were no longer valuable to the clientele. So Moulay got rid of her, apparently by sending her on her way on a trip with a loaf of bread laced with strychnine.
Oh, bloody hell.
And this is a starving girl given a loaf of bread. Apparently she died under a tree.
Under a tree.
No one cared.
Yeah.
No one ever looked for her. And then we come back to Sheriff, the girl in the
Go in
basket.
the basket.
The girl in the basket. She was particularly beautiful, it was alleged. And she was a very talented dancer. And everyone who came to the brothel wanted her attention. So that sparks Moulay's fury and
She's a
interest.
jealous lady.
She comes up with a new form of entertainment for her. It's okay,
Okay.
but it's not okay.
Right.
It's called the hot tea dance.
Okay.
She makes a girl dance naked
Yeah.
for her clients, balancing a tray of boiling hot tea on her head.
Right.
So Minty,
It's not going to end well.
4 times out of one in 4 times, it was calculated, it was said, someone did the maths, she'd be scalded.
Right.
And this is dancing and acrobatics and everything to the delight of Muley and probably her clients as well.
You think her clients, they're not going to, are they going to want, I mean, purely in business terms, they're not going to want a girl who is burnt and scalded. So she's damaging her own merchandise in the most harshest of terms. So,
Okay, this is going to get dark,
Okay.
Nick.
Oh,
and it's
God,
briefly
okay.
going to get dark. It's not going to get too dark, but it's going to get dark. And I'm going to have to level with you here that in the high society brothels, lovely, beautiful, fleshed women you can do lovely things to. In a really cheap brothel, you can do what you like.
do what you like.
And there was one man, there was one client who loved the tea dance. It wasn't enough for him.
Oh.
Trigger warning, trigger warning. This is not about sexual assault, but it's about abuse. He decided that he needed to put needles into her skin and then light them with a cigarette lighter
For fuck's sake.
to burn her. And it's during one of those incidents that she snaps. The girl
Good.
snaps.
Wow, I'm not bloody surprised.
As you would be expected. So this is obviously a client who has watched the tea dance going, that's not enough.
That's not enough. I can do better than that.
That's not enough. God love this girl. He's burning her with needles. She turns around, punches him in the stomach, and kicks him in the jaw, knocking him unconscious.
Excellent.
Absolutely fantastic. Good for you, girl. Huh.
Yeah,
No.
it's not going to end well. Though. She ended up in a basket, so I'm thinking this is not going to go
No.
well.
Not by his hand. She tried to fight back. And the other people in the brothel, the other workers, see this, but so do Millet and Ali. But she is grabbed before she can run free. The others who have witnessed are rounded up, and this is when we end up with a policeman talking to Millet, hearing a mewing sound in the wall, and someone going, help me. What would happen is that back at this scene, the policeman was smashed through the wall, and they would take out 4 emaciated children, let's call them that.
Christ.
They're underage.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Her workers who were close to death. They asked for water. They begged for water because they couldn't speak. That was the only word they could say. The Muley runs up and tries to give them water, and they croak at the policeman, it's poisoned. Give me water.
Yeah.
They take them, they protect them, they give them water, and they start to give their story. At the same time, the policeman turned to Millet and Ali, her husband behind her. Millet's like, don't know what that was.
Yeah, never seen that before. No idea
Never
what's
seen
going
that
on.
before. That's just a phenomenon that happens in walls.
Yeah, that's...
But her husband, Ali behind, he is not as strong as her. He cracks, and he is shouting about strangulation. He's starting about beating. She's going, he's mad, don't listen to him. And then the police are like, okay,
Right.
rounding some people up. So what it transpires is that Sherifa was beaten and garroted by Ali and Muley. Then they chopped her up and boiled her body parts. There's one version where they fed strips of the flesh to the cat, laced with catnip, so the cat would eat it.
Cat went mad for
Have
it.
you seen the size of a cat on a human?
That's a lot to get through.
It's a lot. And then they wrap it all up and put it in a basket and then just shove it outside.
Why leave it on the doorstep?
Don't care. They don't care about her. And they don't think anyone's ever going to come knocking.
Well, that's just stupid.
Apparently so. That's why probably I think people embellish it to she was buried under a fig tree, because it seems so stupid
yeah.
that you would leave a basket on the things, but she just did not give a shit. The 4 children, the 4 other workers were taken, and for whatever reason were, what's the word?
Immured.
Immured.
That's when you like bricks up in a wall. Yeah.
Immured in the wall, said, shut up, you don't say a word. They were bound and gagged. One of them was able to break through, said if you hear anyone come into the house, you were to mew like a cat, which is a bizarre level of torture.
It really is.
But the children were told, and this all came out at trial, this is on record.
Bizarre.
One of them bravely, when hearing the policeman, that's why they were mewing at the start, but one of them was whispering to the other going, no, we can't, and just started shouting, help me, like croaking, help me.
Why would you want them to pretend they're cats?
Because of the scratching, that she knew they'd be moving in the wall, making a sound. And if anyone goes, oh, what's in there? Meow. I mean, it's insane.
It's
insane, but this is the story that the policemen give.
Yeah.
And maybe it's been embellished. Maybe it's been overdone. But they are arrested.
Good.
News of this house of horrors spreads like wildfire. And it is very much embellished across the pond. So in America, there's all sorts of stuff that is written about things in comparison to in Britain or in Europe and indeed in Morocco. But the husband, Ali, gives his testimony, and he says he has killed many times.
Oh, Christ.
For his wife, because he's afraid of the reprisals. He's afraid that she'll kill him. He said other boys and girls have been crippled They have been starved and there have been deaths. Where they are, no one records them.
And a few other walls somewhere.
The children as well, the emaciated children, come to court and give the evidence that they can. One screams hysterically when they see her sitting in court. She is sitting there in flowing white gowns.
Oh, she's got her fanciest clothes on, no doubt. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All in white silk, like dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, and they start screaming. So again, the writer Colette comes to cover the case.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the court reporting. It's just very, I don't know the word to describe it. It's not nice.
No, exactly. It's
in
not,
hindsight, when you read it, it's not pleasant.
It's not that sort of factual, this happened and that. It is that, yes.
Judgment.
Judgment and embellished and as if it is entertainment. It's written.
And it's not. People died.
And it's not, exactly. This is a real thing. Real people died.
In a very literary, hoi polloi kind of way. Very, very pretentious way, which is uncomfortable when you read it back. The Nightingale herself, as I said, comes to court. She's in her flowing white gowns. She is stony-faced, but the only time where she really breaks and cries is when she realises that all of her French officers, all of her friends in high places, are not going to come to court and give evidence to her character.
Yeah, no one's going to come and save you.
They're not going to testify in her defence, and that's the only point where she gets upset, because she really believed they were coming.
Okay.
However, in the press they talked about how this once beautiful woman is now a disgusting old hag. They really focused on how she was fine when she was pretty, but now she's ugly. That's what made her a murderer.
That's what made her evil.
And it's not quite right. And as I said, Colette wrote at length, musing about how Millet had learned such cruelty, perhaps from her lifestyle and from men, but also being a little bit judgmental about things that were not relevant. In the end, Oum-El-Hassen was sentenced to 15 years in prison. She escaped the guillotine.
Yeah.
And that was the big controversy at the time.
She was a lady as well, so it is not easy to execute a lady.
Well, yeah. A lot of people thought that it was because of her friends in high places, or that she knew too much. What would come spilling out before it spilled out on the guillotine block?
Well, if it wasn't done in court, then was it going to... Well, maybe.
Not, she was never given the chance in court, but she could have said a lot of stuff. So she escaped the guillotine. For all of these crimes, it's horrific.
I mean, 15 years is fuck all for that.
And the fact is, we don't know what happened to her after this. People have surmised and had all sorts of ideas, and people have written like, oh, she went on to be the greatest serial killer of all time.
She was Jack the Ripper.
Evidence. She was Jack the Ripper. Many, many years after Jack the Ripper was operational. We don't know what happened to her. She might have lived a quiet, sad life. She might have continued being an absolute bitch. Yeah. Who can say? We will never know. But plenty of people have their theories about the Nightingale.
Good but terrifying. I never heard that one at all. I had no idea. But yeah, wow, what a bitch. Yep.
Big credit to one of the book's Lady Killers, and there's some great pieces on Misandry as well on Blogspot, where you've got loads of articles that were printed at the time covering her case. It's horrific. It's really lurid and awful. And Colette wrote about it at length. Colette's writings, I mean, I'm
not familiar, I must admit. I've not read anything.
I'm not hugely familiar with Colette.
Yeah.
I know people will be familiar with her recently because there was a film about her with Keira Knightley, I believe.
Oh, was that so?
Yeah, and I read the pieces she wrote. It was a person writing their very judgmental point of view.
I mean, it makes you think of what happened to her in those intervening years. So what event, what happened to her in those years to turn her from someone who had such ambitions and contacts and such a fantastic lifestyle and turned her into such a horrendous woman. There must be something fairly major that occurred.
Well, people talk about that she got too much into hashish, so drugs. So that people kind of go quite possibly drug trafficking, and that she was involved in the slave trade. So all sorts of horrible things there. But we only have to look at the Countess from a couple of weeks ago, of her getting older, suddenly realising that she didn't have any friends with her, that she wasn't going to be a part of high society. And maybe she spiralled herself into drugs and just not really being people's cup of tea anymore. Her looks started to fade, and they were like, oh, unless you're absolutely perfect, we're not going to give you our money anymore. And she just spiraled into depression and then decided to take it out on all the girls who work for her.
But you think if you're doing that, though, you've got that sort of establishment where you're not... I'm sure it must be in the end. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a brothel owner.
Are you not?
No, surprisingly. But you're selling the girls who work for you, not necessarily yourself.
Well, she had a very opulent lifestyle, it seems, at the start, but it was in her interest for those high-paying clients to keep those girls pristine.
Yeah.
And for them to be the finest of the fine. And it's the horrific thing about the sex worker trade, you know, in that industry, is that you suddenly realise, oh, I can have a really cheap brothel and I can get people in who have no life and I can abuse them. And I can abuse them and I can take all my aggression out on them because where have they got to go? And that's horrible. It goes from the best possible version of working where probably those women earned a lot of money, hopefully. We don't know.
Yeah, relatively well in comparison
to the worst version.
To the worst version. So if you are in that line of work, and that's probably a better place to be than the alternative where she ended up.
The Countess from a couple of weeks ago was able to abuse her servants because no one cared, because she was a countess. You know, the Nightingale was able to abuse her staff because no one cared. Because she was right at the other end. And why should we care? Who cared until we found 4 children bricked up in a wall and a basket of bodies outside? How many other people died?
Well, yeah.
And how many other people did they not care about?
Yeah, and were never found.
Yeah, it's a grim one.
Now I'm sad.
I know you're sad, but if it makes you feel any better, just imagine all the soldiers who dressed up as prostitutes.
I mean that's helping. Yeah, they had a great drag night,
and that's
going
great.
On
If
there.
they wanted to embrace that side of themselves, absolutely.
I imagine
fair
they
play.
went back the next night and the night after, and it was like, "Can we do that again? Here's 50 francs or whatever."
Yeah, all the soldiers came out and said, "You don't need to come back." No, I made a promise to that man with my eyes.
Absolutely.
You wildcat, you're beautiful when you're angry. Yeah, so they were all there shaving away, and they had a whole new life.
They were having a lovely time.
That's the thing, is I think the soldiers took over the brothel and she was pushed out.
She was pushed out, absolutely.
She got depressed. Yeah. So
she couldn't compete with the burly French legionnaires.
I mean, if we get a picture of a brothel,
I'm going with the French legionnaires. To be honest.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with like really, really hot burly guys dressed up as girls. I mean, oh my god, you know, they got a bit of makeup on and like, oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I went on a cruise there. I don't know what happened. So, what do you think, people? This was a happy yet brutal story. We don't always do the happy stories all the way through, but we have moments of humour. So, what do you think? What do you think of this story? It's one of legend, really. There's several resources on it. It's not talked about a lot, but it got embellished so much over the years. So, what do you think? What do you think of the story? Tell us your thoughts. Tell us your theories. Tell us your feelings on it. What do you think those soldiers did?
Yeah, which version are you going for?
Yeah, which version are you going for? They were hiding in the back and she was fending everyone off with a gun, or there was...
I would love to go with version B.
Yeah, there was a pamper session.
Yeah.
There is a drawing that I will put out of it.
Nice.
It's quite sexy.
That I want to see.
And it's of the time they were like, some newspaper like, yes, 100% I'm drawing this. But whatever version you go with in your head, you must make sure that you have a bird is the word
Bird
in
is the
your hand.
word. Absolutely. Sinead's not back too.
I liked it.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
I mean, I may edit this, and it's maybe me going, blah, blah, blah. But then you've had 2 red hooks.
Yeah, and you had a margarita as well.
And you, oh fuck.
So you've actually beaten me on cocktails.
Am I beating you?
Yeah.
Well, I wrote the episode, so I'm the best person.
Well, there we go. But the recipe will be out this evening. So by all means, mix up the bird as a word. Let us know what you think. Are you on Sinead's team? Are you loving a bird?
Oh, I'm loving a bird. Send us pictures of any of the drinks that you are enjoying this weekend. Tag us on any social media channels that you follow. Please come and follow us on TikTok if you're on there. TikTok's a lovely place. You can find lots of lovely things, and we're doing lots of funny videos.
I'm going to do one soon, I promise.
He says every bloody week I'm gonna churn shit out because he's reserved the good ones.
I reserve my ones. They're my stories.
I've done a couple of yours.
I know you have. Rude.
I know. And it went viral. Please leave us a review on Apple iTunes if you haven't already. If you are new to the Poisonous Cabinet, we love you and thank you for joining us. And consider coming over to Patreon because it's a lovely place. And keep sending us your thoughts on Akatar, our book of the month. What should we read next, people?
Well, indeed. I need my next fix.
Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisonous Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.
Bye.